Hey everybody, it's JJ, the Lonely Bull in Asia. I promised I would give you a video on the K1 visa, the Fiancé visa. I'm just going to give you general information. I'm not an expert obviously in that, but I did go through the process a few years back, right to the very end before my relationship kind of fell apart and we ended up not doing the whole thing. So, but I want to give you that experience that I had and kind of go through the process, the steps that I took to get that K1 visa going. So this was back in 2018 when I was still living in the States, and I had a long distance relationship with a Filipina in Leyte, and I would come here a couple of times a year to visit and spend some time with her and her kids. She has 3 kids, and we're still friends today, but things just didn't work out. So I went through a company called Rapid Visa, and I believe they just moved their offices to Las Vegas. I haven't been on their site until today for a long time. For obvious reasons, I haven't had the need to use it. But I wanted to go through some of the costs and the procedures that I took when I was going through that Fiancé visa. So what the prices to get the K1 visa package? I paid $375 for my fiance, and then with 3 kids, I put them on the K1 visa as well, with the intent of them moving with us after they got out of their school year. They didn't have to move at the same time. I think you can wait up to 6 months or a year maybe before anybody on that visa is required to actually make that move to the States. So I put each child on that. That was $75 each. And then I paid for the premium review, which I think was a good deal for $100. What they do is they review the entire package, make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, make sure everything's in the right order, that all the information is correct. Because if you do it on your own and you make a mistake, you basically got to start from scratch, because the USCIS will send everything back to you and say, you messed up, you got to start over. So this is kind of an insurance policy. They have, if you do your taxes, they have companies that will review your taxes for you. It's kind of that way. It's kind of a safeguard to make sure everything's correct. And then the USCIS fee for the I-129F is $535. Now, that fee, I just got an email a couple weeks ago, that fee is going to go up. So they were talking about, let me see if I can find the email. They're talking about a massive fee hike. So I'm going to put my glasses on to read this off my laptop. So for the Fiancé visa, the I-129F, currently it's $535, like I said, but the proposed fee will go up to $720. So that's a $185 increase, or about 35% increase. Now that's been submitted. They haven't approved it yet, but they expect that the USCIS to officially announce those new fees within the coming months. So just if you're looking at a fiance, looking at getting that K1 Fiancé visa, you might, if you're serious about doing this, you might want to step up your plans and get that in motion before those fees go up. Now, I mean, it's 35% on just the USCIS fee. So like I said, $185 or something like that. So for some of you, it might not be a big deal. For me, it was. So that's that fee. And then I paid all this in installments of $247. So I started making payments of $247 on March of 2018, and I made 6 payments through August of 2018. So the total cost for the Fiancé visa, the K1 visa through Rapid Visa, is $1,482. That's what I spent for that process to start. Now that's not the total. That's just That's just for that. And you can get all the paperwork in prior to making all those payments, but they won't review those papers, and they won't send it to USCIS until you've made your final payment and your balance is zero. Okay, so just know that. But while we were doing this, while I was making those 6-month installment payments, I was getting all that paperwork ready. And so what you do is you can go on their website, and you can go to what's called your account or your petition, and it's very easy. You just start at the beginning and you just fill out. It's all electronic. You fill out all the information. One of the tougher parts of that information is getting your fiance's information, because a lot of times if they live in the provinces, they don't really have an address, so you've got to come up with some sort of an address for them. So that's very important that you get all that information in there. They have to prove that they are not married. They have to go through a background check to prove that they don't have any felons, or they have a clean police record. Obviously, they have to get passports. For her and the kids had to get passports. So all of that is part of it. And then document your visits. When you go and see her or her kids or whatever your situation is, make sure you're documenting all those visits. Take a lot of pictures, and you're going to have to print those pictures out, date them on the back of those printed pictures, and keep all your records as far as your airline tickets, any hotels, any expenses, traveling expenses that you had to go, to come here to the Philippines to visit your fiance or your girlfriend, any restaurants that you took them to, movies, amusement parks, beaches, whatever the case may be. Make sure that you are documenting everything. So you have all those things with you, because you're going to have printed documents. Make copies of everything. Don't send originals, because you don't want to lose any of that if something happens. But like in my case, I'll tell you that in a little bit. But document everything and make copies of it. And then what you'll do is, when you're ready, when you have everything done, you'll send all that information to Rapid Visa or whatever company you choose, or if you want to do it on your own, you'll send it to USCIS. Rapid Visa will check everything, make sure everything's in order, and then they'll send it up to USCIS. And at that point, you'll get a notification through email from Rapid Visa that the process is a go, just waiting for the response. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe it took about, I want to say, I think it was 4 months. I want to say 3 or 4 months before I got a notification from USCIS, and it comes in a letter form. They send you a letter that says your documents have been approved, your petition has been approved, and they're sending it to the embassy in Manila. They're sending all your information, all that packet that you sent in, they're sending it to Manila. I think that happened in 4 months, but I think it's usually 4 to 6 months. Now, this was pre-COVID, this was pre all this stuff, so there may be a huge backlog now, so it may be taking longer. I don't know that for a fact. So, but in my case, I think it was 4 or 5 months, and I got that letter that said everything is a go. And I remember that day because I got that letter, and I did a video call with my fiance, and I showed her the letter, and we were so excited, or I was so excited. It was, it was a cool thing. So anyway, so now you have to wait. Now it's another waiting game, and you wait for the U.S. Embassy to approve everything, and then when the time comes, you have to go. Well, I guess you don't have to. You can have your fiance do it, but it's tough for them. There's a lot of stuff that they have to gather. They can get their documents as far as making sure they're not married, getting their police records. They can get all those in their barangay from home. But what I did was I flew to Manila and met my fiance there, and this was in 2020. So this process has taken a while, right? From August of 2018 is when I made my final payment to March of 2020 or February of 2020. So about a year and a half probably, but if you're talking from the start, when I first started making those payments, it's 2 years, from March 2018 to February 2020, or 2020. So I go there, I meet her there, and we had to go to a bank, and I can't remember which bank it was. It might have been Bank of Philippine Islands, one of those banks that do these things. So you have to get these, you have to pay for these fees, these immigration fees, these K1 fees, and it's another charge. And I believe for an adult, for my fiance, it was like I want to say $160, but I could be off on that. I can't really remember what the cost was. And then for the kids, it was a lesser price, but you had to get four of these fees. You get a little receipt, and that's what you take to the embassy when the time comes. And then the last thing she had to do was get her medical exam. So, but you have to get those receipts first, and then you have to schedule your appointment for the interview before you can get your medical exam, or you have to. There's a timeline there. So she got her medical exam, and we're sitting in the hotel, and this is at the end of February 2020. And I go online and I put all the information in as far as the receipts for the four visa fees, and I go on their website to schedule that interview for her. Well, they were booked up until, I think the earliest date was April 28th of 2020. So almost 2 months, exactly 2 months out. So I told her, okay, I'm going to book this. I'll give you money so you can get your flight back here to Manila from Leyte, so you can go to that interview. Unfortunately, I didn't have any more vacation time left, so I couldn't come back to be with her. I can't be in the interview anyway, but I kind of wanted to be there for support and just to kind of help her out a little bit beforehand. Now you can Google this, or you can check on a website, and it'll give you like the 100 questions that you will be possibly asked in these visa interviews, and you can download those questions and just kind of review it with your fiance or your excuse me, your future spouse. So that would be the step that I would tell you to do. Just kind of rehearse that interview process. Go over those 100 questions. Make sure she is clear on, how you met, how often you've seen each other, where you're from, what your family's like. Do you have kids from a previous marriage? Are you divorced? Do you have brothers and sisters? Are your parents still alive? A lot of that stuff. Where are you from? Where do you live now? That sort of thing. So review those 100 questions, and you'll be fine there. But that's kind of the process. Now I'll tell you what happened with me was when we were getting ready for that final step, we realized that she didn't really want to be married, so didn't want to leave her province, and I didn't want to live there in the province, so my original idea was bringing her and the kids back to the States. It didn't work out, so unfortunately, but we're still friends, like I said. I'm still very close to her children. I send them birthday money all the time, and things like that, Christmas and things, but we're still very close, and as friends, but friends only. There would be no way to get back together, and I think we both understand that. But hopefully with your situation, everything works out well. Now As far as that timeline, it could be a lot longer now because, you know, maybe there's a huge backlog from, you know, what happened with COVID and all that. But I wish you all the best of luck if that's what your plan is, to get your fiance and then get her back to the States, and then that's where the 90 days, as soon as you land, that's where the 90 days countdown starts for you to get married. And then once you get married, then you can get in that process of getting her a permanent residency, getting that green card so she can start working. And that process is another lengthy item that takes quite a while. I didn't get to that part. I didn't get to that point yet, but hopefully you guys will, and hopefully this is a little helpful. I'm not endorsed by Rapid Visa. I don't endorse them. That's just the place that I used. That's the company I used to get everything processed, and I will tell you that it really helped. They're very quick to answer any questions, so I asked a lot of questions, and I would email them, and they would get back with me usually by that next day at the latest with an answer. So they were very good to respond. So that's what I used. You guys, I'm sure there's other sites. There's lawyers, there's attorneys that specialize in this kind of thing, probably with different fees. You just have to do your due diligence and check your research and things like that. So anyway, so that's how things work there. And you know, I'm here. I ended up in the Philippines anyway, so I'm enjoying my life. Just kind of sharing my experiences with you, and I appreciate a like and share and a subscription, and hit that notification bell. That way, when I post new videos like this, hopefully you'll get notified and you can watch these videos too. So till next time, have a good one. Bye-bye.